Hello, classmates. So my topic for today is about the mental health of children. So why is it important? So most children have a fairly high level of emotional adjustment, and it is both physical and mental health affects on how we think, feel, and act on the inside and outside. That's why it is very essential part of overall children's health. And if the children have the good mental health, they have the ability to succeed in school, at work, and in a society. So the next one, you can see in the picture, there is some boy who's being bullied by the group of children and because of his body weight. So that is why he is suffering from depression and he is reluctant to play with others or exercise. And as a result, he has a poorer physical and a mental. Next, we have the types of mental health problems. So the first one is the depression, which it has a poorer physical and mental health. The second one is a self-harm. So this kind of health problems, they are experiencing some intense emotional pain. So to release this kind of pain, they have to cut themselves or burning themselves, but they may not wish to take their own life. This is just the way of how they will soothe themselves from the pain. So the next one is the separation anxiety. So this kind of mental health problems is very common in a kindergarten. So especially it's their first day of school. They don't want to separate from their parents or from their home. And the next one is the post-traumatic stress disorder. So this kind of disorders is they experience physical or sexual abuse or they witness something extremely frightening or traumatizing or they are being the victim of the violence or a severe bullying. And the next one is the ADHD or the deficit hyperactivity disorder. So this kind of disorder is they behave impulsively or they have difficulty paying attention. So if you notice that in the classroom sometimes that there is one who cannot pay attention to class and they like to move around, walking around, playing around, and um, his distractions inside the classroom. So we have to consult in a psychologist. So maybe he is suffering from ADHD. And the last one is the eating disorder. So it is very common in a teenage years, especially from the girls. So based here, it is very common in the girls than boys. So and if you're familiar with the girl went viral last year because of her skinny body. So she's literally skin and bone because she's afraid to eat any kind of food and she can only take water. And we found out that she is suffering from anorexia nervosa. So this kind of disorder is being afraid to eat some food. So if they cannot treat this kind of disorder, it will be very harmful for her health. Next is we have the common emotional disturbances among the children. So the first one is the oppositional defiant disorder or the ODD. So this kind of disorder is very common in early childhood or preschool. So this kind of disorder is um, The characteristics are disobedience, irritability, or hostility toward authority figures, especially if constantly fighting and arguing with others, losing temper, slashing things, blaming others, and angry and resentful. The next one is the TD or the conduct disorder. So this one is very common in middle childhood to adolescence. And the characteristics of this disorder is about being aggressive, antisocial behavior, violating social norms or the rights of others. Examples are truancy, setting fires, habitual lying, fighting, vandalism, rape or prostitution or abuse of sex. And the causes of these disorders are first biological, maybe it is a genetics. If the parents have short temper, maybe there's a tendency that the child will have short temper as well. Or maybe the brain structure or neurotransmitter imbalance. So the next cause about the psychological. So for example is temperament, poor emotion regulation or low empathy. And the last cause is about the environmental. So maybe because of the poor parenting, especially in TV or conduct disorder, because it is about the middle childhood to adolescent. And because of the trauma, peer influence, poverty. So if you remember during our high school days, there are some gangs, fraternities who are fighting each other. It is very common in middle childhood maybe because of the peer influence. Next, we have the school phobia and other anxiety disorders. So if we have separation anxiety, we also have school phobia. So in separation anxiety, they are afraid to get separated from their parents or from their home. But school phobia, they are afraid to go to school, maybe because they are suffering from bullying or they are afraid with their teachers. Next is the generalized anxiety disorder. So this kind of disorders, they cannot focus on any single target. They just worry about everything. The school grades, being on time, wars, earthquakes. They just worry everything in a single time, at the same time. And the last one is the social phobia. So this kind of phobia, they are fear of extreme fear or avoidance of social interactions or social situations. Next is we have the childhood depression symptoms. So the first we have prolonged sense of friendliness, inability to have fun, extreme activity or apathy, feelings of worthlessness, weight change, thoughts of death or suicide. So if you notice that the child has one of these symptoms, we have to consult or we have to check their mental health. Next, we have the treatment techniques for these kinds of behavior or disorders. So the first one, we have individual psychotherapy. So this kind of therapy, the therapist needs to do the one-on-one treatment. The next one is the family therapy. So the therapy needs to see the child and the family together to analyze the patterns of the family functioning. And the third one is the behavior therapy. So this kind of behavior or this kind of techniques is the therapist will change the negative behavior to make it a positive behavior. Next is we have the different emotions and how to deal with them. So the first one is the self-conscious emotions. So this kind of emotions, the child feel embarrassed if the others laugh or they feel guilty if they cause trouble. So how to deal with this kind of emotion? So maybe we can help children to recognize and label what they feel. So maybe we can tell to the child that it looks like you're feeling embarrassed because everyone was watching. Or maybe we can let them know it's okay to have that feeling. Maybe we can say that everyone feels that way sometimes, even grown-ups. And the next one is the emotional understanding. So to deal with this kind of emotion, maybe we can connect the emotions to action. So after the conflict, we can guide reflection. So maybe we can tell to the child that what happened that made you upset. Or maybe we can say, how could we fix it next time? So the goal for this is to build the empathy and responsibility. The next one is the emotional regulation. So this one is how to control the emotion. So maybe we can use a calming tools and spaces, or we can create a calming corner with soft pillows, stress balls, or breathing prompts. We can also teach children that it's okay to take a break and calm down when it's said. So next we have the risk factor. The first one is we have a long-term physical illness, having a parent who has a mental health problems with alcohol, or has been in trouble with the law, experiencing the death of someone close to them, and having parents who separate or divorce. And how parents can help. So first, when children have a warm, open relationship with their parents, they feel safe to share their worries. And listening carefully and taking their feelings seriously is one of the best ways parents can help. And sometimes children may just want comfort, like a hug, while other times they may need guidance or practical help. And most negative feelings in children pass with time. And also, but if the stress lasts too long or affects daily life and family harmony, it's important to take action. And the last one, seeking extra help is also needed if a child's behavior becomes unusual for their age. And for my last slide is a professional help at school. So if the child is having problems at school, a teacher, school nurse, school counselor, or educational psychologist may be able to help. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.